Thank you for ICD to give me this opportunity to present some combination between research and field. I'm a specialist of public diplomacy, and I will deal with a case in Indian subcontinent because I want to present some point of view which are linked with former presentations. We all know the case of soft power, the definition of Mr. Nye and other scholars, even from China, or even from other parts of the world. And it's everything, all this world are similar, like cultural diplomacy or advocacy or public relations. Don't go too long into that, more describing how can a country transform the resources into public diplomacy operation and into image building. So I first start for three cases. The case of China, which has a very clear soft power diplomacy, which tried to mobilize all its resources into resources to develop my keyword, a narrative, or a storytelling for giving information. So there is two big topics. The first topic of the China case is about culture, which is the most famous one, the most visible one, the most documented, that everyone can read in his own country, whatever it is, Pakistan or Greece, with a lot of media and some cultural products. The second one on soft power as a resources is a case of when someone used the soft power mixed with economic. So the case of the BRI, the Belt and Road Initiative, of many countries in that room are also concerned. And the position of China is saying, we have resources, we propose you to connect the world for the benefit of mankind. This is a narrative which is documented in the speech of the president of the country. But there is not only China as soft power, of course. We've got India, which succeed under the strength of Narendra Modi to elaborate the National Yoga Day every 21 of June. Participants all over the world can practice yoga. It is said, at least it's a resource for a country to propose its image. And it is said that this resource is a soft power of India. Okay. And there is another case, such as food chosen by the French, French gastronomy, Goût de France, or Good France, when it was an operation for 7 years between 2013 and 2020, and when French proposed all over the world a way to taste its gastronomy and its way of eating. It's an operation which was delivered for diplomats, but also for people which are living in the country, and also for professionals. This operation was a success, and there was only one goal, is to bring more tourists to France. So in this very rapid presentation, because I want to be respect my time. In this very rapid presentation, we see 3 different countries using 3 different kind of resources to develop their image and to promote their image, whatever we call it, outside in the rest of the world, due to competition, due to globalization, due to some other reasons. Because of what? Yeah, we are today now here. We are today in Image Foundation under communication processes. Can we say that if we want to go back to history, can we say that soft power and public diplomacy are modern day epics? Why not? It's a discussion with one of my Indian colleagues, with a specialist of epics. The key point, as I told to my students all over the world, is that using resources, develop a narrative, and use and align the policy between the MFA and the government to tell a story to the rest of the world. Now let's move to the Indian subcontinent with two countries. I don't go into detail with India, but a small country in the region propose mostly not really soft power, but at least branding. I was attending an event at the Brussels Bhutanese embassy where Bhutan was presenting its new branding in order to seduce new tourists and to improve its image. So even a small country of 400,000 citizens know that they have to do something. And what do they do? Because you should know in that room that Bhutan is a Buddhist country by religion and by official religion. They use traditional Buddhism items to renovate them and to promote them outside. Now we move to another country in the region. Some representatives are in that room, and I'm quite happy with that. We move with Pakistan. Because Pakistan, why Pakistan? For several reasons, but one of the reasons is that Pakistan is a middle power. It's very interesting to look at middle power for their challenge they have to face and the resources they may have to have. Alors, I propose in my methodology to use some indexes to frame the image of the country. There is, as you may know, different indexes about soft power. One of them is a global soft power index, and Pakistan is ranking 84 out of 160, which is not a very good position, which is not a surprise. Please don't ask any question or in the room, but if you want to discuss the methodology about the indexes, it could be, we could do that later. If we go to another index on Pakistan about the rule of law index, Pakistan is 129 out of 140. So at least it gives an image which is not so positive, and that's why Pakistan, I know that from the inside, is aware of the problem. That's why I call this last part of my presentation, very brief, intense, only 7 minutes, Pakistan, a public diplomacy in the making. They are just starting it. So I've learned in the press that Imran Khan, when he was in power, opened a public diplomacy operation into the MFA, but maybe with 5 to 10 people. How come we can do something at the world level with 5 to 10 people? Then it's very difficult to know if there's something going on, because there are only one researcher on public diplomacy in the whole country. I had the chance to meet him. What do they use to start something from the scratch? They use something from the scratch because the image of Pakistan is not the same as the image of Sweden or the image of Great Britain. They use natural landscape, including the photogenic massive peaks of the Hindu Kush, which is very visible everywhere. And even when you apply for a pipe visa, you have the image of the Hindu Kush. So they consider that the first image could be tourism and landscape. Why not? It's already a first resources. But as I told to my students, we should not forget that resources like this, we don't move the mountains. We have to take the planes to go to the mountains. So the challenge to find something which could be exportable outside, and I will prove it thanks to the introduction of about the UNESCO comment this morning. So it's a primary resources, but it's in the making. So they are making the mix between tourism and soft power, which is a common mistake according to my point of view. If we go a little bit further, I was monitoring the X account called Public Diplo. They do the job also. They present resources in their country. And not only, Pakistan is founding on Islam. 99% of the 120 millions are Muslim, but they present resources on different culture. We go rapidly. They present religious site with a dedicated hashtag called Explore Pakistan. And one is a Buddhist one. There is a Catholic one. There is image of Catholicism, Hindu, Jain, Buddhist, and Islam. So they take into account the 5 religions which are present on the soil of Pakistan, which is clever because it's already a start. And it's already a resources, the key of my topic, and it's already a narrative which can be developed to modify the image of Pakistan. If we do a survey here, what is the first image of Pakistan, we are almost sure to have a similar result. So they already try to do it, but in the making. What do they do after that? We have Buddhism. So you may have heard about the Gandhara heart between the 3rd before Christ and the 5th century after BC AD. It's in English. It's some problem. This art exists only in Pakistan, also in Afghanistan, of course, with the Bamiyan and some Ain Qanun. But this art exists mostly there, a little bit in Afghanistan, a little bit in Kazakhstan, a little bit in Uzbekistan. Well, why don't you, some people say, why don't we use this art to change and to develop a narrative? And a narrative around Buddhism could be very efficient, at least among Westerners. Because you know that many Westerners now are looking for Buddhism for their personal purposes. So they imagine, so such an NGO, I had a chance to meet them, they imagine a heritage trail to Pakistan. So it's possible to develop another story for this country and according to the Buddhist heritage. So like the tourism, it could be tourism, but also thanks to the presence of Gandhara art all over the world, in Rome, in Paris, in London, in Tokyo, it's possible also to make some connections. What they do more? Because they do something more. They also, this is the second event which was organized just in March, the second international conference on art heritage on the Buddhist heritage of Pakistan. Once again, they tried to develop something around that. Okay, it was under the support of the Ministry of Archaeology, the Department of Archaeology of the KPK region, but at least this is the best operator in the region. And the president presents some tours. Okay, I am coherent with my words. This remains tourism. But this can be transformed into something else outside the country. I want to prove it now for the last part of my presentation. But it was impossible to avoid a photo on every site which was visited. Okay, but already, welcome to the land of Gandhara. It's already something going on. As we have heard them this morning, there is a UNESCO Intangible Heritage List, ACH. So I've made a similar, I've learned this morning there is 500, a little more about 500 elements, items. So I will not go into the detail because we had this presentation this morning, but I went into where Pakistan has something into its list. I'm not sure that this sentence is correct. So this is a case of dead palm when Pakistan is not involved. But I decided to look here. Pakistan is involved into 2 dimensions on the ICH, falconry and Nowruz. At least, if we don't move the mountains, if we don't move the Gandhara heart from the country, we can, embassies, diplomats, tourist office can organize stories, events here in Berlin to tell a new story on Pakistan. Then we made it. They made it. I'm not Pakistan. I'm not working for them. So it's two resources are possible because it's ICH which can be organized. And I have a small anecdote. Even if Pakistan belongs to Nowruz, the 5 countries of Central Asia organize every year in Brussels a Nowruz event. It's possible to attend, and they propose food from the 5 Central Asian countries, and they celebrate Nowruz in front of the Brussels bubble. So they do it. Why Pakistan is not involved into it? I don't know. And I never meet the Pakistani ambassador in Brussels, and frankly speaking, is not so visible. And the 5 countries for Central Asia, Tajikistan and all the pays in star, not Afghanistan is missing. It's a shame. But they do the job. So they try to tell a new story or to elaborate on their resources to develop some communication, to develop some narrative. Well, I was very rapid because I'm almost at the end of my presentation. So there is a possibility, as I told you, for image building. Every country, I argue that every country has possibility for image building. As I told to my student, Sri Lanka is using tea to first organize some event in the surrounding in Brussels. But it could be in Berlin, or it could be Lusaka, or it could be in other countries. I don't know. This is a duty of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the duty of the Ministry of Tourism, and the duty of the government. That's why I argue that it should move from beyond tourism towards public diplomacy, and to work on cultural resources, to use different resources, to include the MFA, and on a strategy which may take 5 to 10 years. So, as an academic, I have a slide for a conclusion. Can we move from epic to narrative? Why not using a traditional epic like the Greek histories or the Mahabharata to develop some new narrative? Why not? Then in this case, we include culture into different events. Of course, every country can find its own resources, and also this was more the 3, I have to be honest, the point 3 and the point 4 were more related to my former presentation dealing with literature, because this presentation was pushed under cooperation with an Indian colleague, which asked me to make a connection between narrative and epic and literature. And of course, like the final conclusion of my esteemed colleague at ICD, we deal with identity. Public diplomacy, your words, my words, public diplomacy deal also with identity. Who are we? I mean, each citizen, who are we into a globalized world? I have another compliment to you. I propose to say, on which level do we decide to belong? If I listen to Taylor Swift, maybe I decide to consume to James Cameron movie. Maybe I decide to consume worldwide mainstream culture. But I also can decide to stick to Mahabharata, and I also can decide to have some excursion into French rap music or to K-pop song, and also this evening having some Afghanese food, of course. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Questions or comments for Dr. Olivier Arifon? We're a little tight on time, so maybe we'll allow for one. Okay. A brief comment. I will just give you the microphone, and then a brief response, please.
I want to ask you two main points you discuss about the Hindu Kush. Hindu Kush is in Afghanistan, a big mountain.
Yeah.
It's starting the western till in the north. This is the culture's period in Afghanistan, and Buddha, Bamyan Buddha, and also this is the Hindu Kush mountains, the big mountains.
Yeah.
This is the cultures. Also more scientific researches in Afghanistan. But the name of the Hindu Kush is very important for the people of Afghanistan. In this cases,
Okay.
this is a part of the cultures in before.
Okay.
The second things we are not.
It's a question. It's a comment.
Just comment.
Okay.
Just a comment, because if in Pakistan, in Hindustan, and also Afghanistan, all this region, Central Asia's understanding in this word Hindu Kush, in Afghanistan.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know.
The another that you told about the Nowruz. We are not thinking for the 5 countries. For examples, for for example, nowadays is the very important issues, the cultures exchange view diplomacy and social media. When we are putting something for the social media, all these regionals, for example, one sample from Tajikistan or Afghanistan or Iran or another countries, this is now is not limited for the five countries, more than countries. For example, in Pakistan, it's also celebrating.
Of course.
When we are researching, in this case, we should not talk about the five countries. This is my comment.
No. I think I wasn't clear enough. I agree with you that Nowruz is shared also with more than 5 countries. I was just explaining that in Brussels, the 5 countries of Central Asia are organizing a joint event on Nowruz. That's all I say. I didn't say something else.
May I just say that, just on continuing your, just one note, of course I served at the United Nations, and I must say that Nowruz is one of the greatest celebrations in the United Nations, not only 4 or 5 countries. I mean, and Pakistan is very vividly there. So, you know, probably not in Brussels, but in New York, definitely.
But good. I'm happy to hear it. I just quoting my field.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Excellent. Well, on that note, we do actually need to conclude. We're running a little bit behind schedule, but I'm sure we'll have opportunities later in the day to continue the conversation, or feel free to apply and become a student at the ICD Academy, and then you can, for the entire semester, have the chance to get to know Dr. Arifon. But let's express our sincere gratitude to Dr. Arifon.